talk about anything and everything that is metaphysical and answers from beyond. And of course, today we got a topic here that everybody should be interested in for those who want a successful life. It's about manifesting your goals, your career, your love life, everything there is. We are at the year 2025, January 2025, and I have my dear friend and guest, Miss Jan Venturini. Hi, Jan.
Well, good afternoon, Jim. Always a pleasure.
And you're in Hawaii, right?
Yes, and so if you hear chickens in the background, it's because we have wild chickens here.
Okay, well, if you see...
everywhere, and they love to talk.
Well, if you hear fires in the background, that's California.
Okay, my heart goes out to California. It's my state. I love California, and my heart goes out to all those people. Everything going on. It's a time of change, and sometimes out of the ashes will come something much better, even though it may not look like it at the time. In fact, manifesting is a great idea for all those who have change thrust upon them.
Well, I certainly hope so. I mean, all right. So I have goals. I have aspirations. And what do I need to dig inside me to help me manifest those dreams?
Okay. Well, in the early days, we used to always do treasure mapping. And are you familiar with all with treasure mapping?
I am not.
Okay. Well, I used to teach classes on this with people, and it forced them to really have to think about it, because we would not only make these treasure maps with them, we would meditate on them, and we would actually even sometimes create a thing called a lifeline walk. And so let me go back to the concept of treasure mapping. Let me separate these factions, and you can ask me questions. Treasure mapping is the ability to take a piece of plain whiteboard and to designate 4 quadrants on that board. One for relationship, love life, one for personal growth, one for career, and the other one, the 4th one, can be for self-improvement, health, things that you want to do to make your health better, your emotional health better, your mental health. And what you do is you cut words out of magazines and pictures, and you meditate on what is it that I really want in my life. And I used to have people that would say, they really wanted the right relationship, and I'd say, well, then why don't you plan the wedding and put it on your board?
Wow.
I just take the next step and go ahead and plan the wedding. What kind of wedding are you going to have? Where will it be? All right. Well, it's more important that they focus on the events around that relationship rather than try to decide who that person will be. Because normally, who they're going to find that may not look anything like what they think.
Mm-hmm.
Not even. So it's better to focus on what are you wanting to have in this relationship. First, the marriage, fine. Then put the wedding on that board. Career, what do you want to have out of that career? Instead of saying, I want a job at Lockheed, or I want a job at HBO, or I want to be the greatest author in the world. What do you want to get from that? Because remember, if we don't go inside to what we're receiving from that desire, it's not real. It's just words. And I used to do this a lot, Jim, was asking people, what would you do if you had that?
Mm-hmm.
And I would find out how much meaning was behind that. So use the colors. You use colors on that treasure map that reflect your soul. If you love purple, then cut purple pictures out and put a purple design around your board. And what you're going to do is you complete. So I want to improve. I want to walk. I want to manifest walking off 10 pounds. Fine. Then you put that on the board of what you're going to look like 10 pounds from now. The clothes you're going to buy. In other words, you manifest by already being where you want to be. Do you understand that?
Sort of like the movie The Secret.
Yeah, it's not like you can't try to get out of the chair. You have to get out of the chair. So manifesting means you must already go to that place of having that thing you want. All right, I am 10 pounds better. I'm walking every day at 12 o'clock. I have the wedding for that person I'm going to meet. When you do that, what you're doing is you're giving an affirmation to the universe that it's already yours. And that is a key to manifesting. Not to wish you have it, but to assume you already have it.
Okay, so what if I say to people that are my friends, I say, okay, I'm 10 pounds lighter, and they look at me like, what? No, you're not.
Why would you say that to your friends? You're just putting that on your personal board. This is your personal information. Right?
So keep it to yourself.
Like, for instance, with many women, they have a specific little black dress they want to get into. All right. So on their board for personal, on that board, they put that little dress on a picture of them saying, I am now my perfect size. So that they don't have to go around broadcasting to people, oh, I can wear that little black dress that I wore 3 years ago. It's on their board. They're visualizing it. They're seeing it. And sometimes it helps to put it on the refrigerator because you have to have reminders on a daily basis. Then after you've created everything on this treasure mapping board, you sit down and say, what is really most important? What is really most important in my life right in this moment? All right? And it always has to come back to you enlivening you in whatever way gives you the greatest joy and the greatest satisfaction. And you know that by how it feels inside. All right? If somebody tells you, oh, you should be doing blah, blah, and it doesn't fit, you're going to say, your body tighten up. But when you say, oh, I would like to be instrumental in the lives of young people, so they would have more choice and more confidence to step into being who they truly are.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel that in the depth of your being, that's real. And when something is real like that, then they do it the next time and say, okay, what I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to visualize yourself in the meadow, and all around you are all these young people that somehow you've reached and touched them in their heart of hearts so that they know they have value. They know that they can accomplish that thing they want the most because you ignited that in them. And I want you to sit and just feel what it's like to know that inside your being and let that person just sit in that knowing. Because as they do that, they start to respond to young people in a more open-minded way. They start to respond in a more mentorship way. So manifesting has to become a part of our life, our mental, emotional, and physical being. It's not something that you just want that goes on a wall. It's something you want and you embody it. You have to embody it within your being for it to be real.
And what about these conversations that people have that, well, that, oh, you know what, I don't think I can do that. I don't think I can get this, or maybe I don't deserve it. How does one change their attitude when they have negative thoughts?
First of all, never disagree with a person, okay? I'll say, okay, so if you don't think you can have it, and if you don't believe you're worthy, then we need to look at something that you are worthy of. What would that be?
Interesting.
What are you worthy of? All right, what do you deserve? In other words, when you don't argue with the person, it forces them to have to look a little deeper inside themselves. All right? Because many times a person will say to me, I don't know. I go, well, if you thought you knew, what would that be? All right? So with a young person, they don't have a lot of confidence yet. So when they say, oh, I don't think I can do that, I'm not worried of that. I say, okay, I get that for right now. However, what would you be worthy of now? It makes them have to think.
Right. Wow.
And you build a field of dreams. You build the field, and then you can create that reality. And you set an intent for something that has to feel real. If it's not real, they won't manifest it. So that's why you got to go right to where they can live. Like, for instance, they might say, okay, no, I'm not worthy of that. That's way too much. But I might be worthy of shooting 4 baskets instead of 20. Okay?
Yeah.
That sounds really good. Yeah, shooting 4 baskets sounds really great. All right, could you just close your eyes and imagine yourself shooting those 4 baskets? Now, what does that feel like inside when you do that? Yeah, does it feel good enough to maybe shoot more?
Yeah.
If you want to, go ahead. You can do that. If you want to shoot more baskets, you can do that. It's up to you. Go ahead. All right. So actually, in all human beings, I don't care who they are and how low their self-esteem is, Jim, they will be kindergartners at something that's difficult, and they'll be PhD graduates at something else that they're good at. So you focus on what they're good at, right? Oh, I see. Okay, so you're not an athlete. Okay, but you really are wonderful at video games, aren't you? Yeah, you're really good at that. How do you think you became that good? Oh, you did it every day. I see. So what do you think would happen if you shot baskets every day?
That's true.
All right. So the key to helping a person set an intent and manifest is you got to get them to go to what's real for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because that will grow. They may not be able to go to the top of the staircase. They may have to take steps to get there. All right. And it can be shocking sometimes. We can, I can use an simple example of myself where I was talked into going to real estate. I never saw myself as a salesperson. All right, but I was very, very serious about paying my bills. And so when I went into real estate, I just had to make sure that I always had something in escrow because I was terrified of not having money to make my mortgage payment. And so I just would work day and night. And I turned around and I was 8 months in the business and I won the best award out of 240 agents and I didn't even know.
All right. Beautiful.
So, and I didn't do that because I wanted to be a star. I did that out of fear of not being able to pay my mortgage payment. Mm-hmm. So we never know what's going to motivate a person, do we?
No, we don't. We don't. And sometimes unfortunately, we don't even know when we discourage a person. We don't know. Mm-hmm. We may have said something we didn't think is intentional or hurtful, but they perceive it.
A really good thing to do with young people is to put them in shoes and have the things they have to kind of know each other and say, okay, I want you to tell your partner what you observe. That's what the good things you observe about them. And you have them reflect the things about that other person. It's very nice to have somebody else tell us about ourselves.
Right.
All right, it really helps to get a bigger picture. And the thing is, intent, when one sets an intent to manifest something in their life, if all of their being is in agreement, they will manifest it. If all of their being is in agreement, if it's not, then it's not. Mm-hmm. They won't manifest it because it's not real. The universe is right there at your beck and call in every moment. But one of the things that I always say to people is say this or something greater, because we don't always know what is going to enliven us. Sometimes we limit ourselves in our intent and our manifestations. So we might want to say, I'd like to have this or something greater, this or something better, because you want to leave that door open for even more.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And so when you're setting the intent, I want to be I would say with you, because I know you, so I know you want to affect young people as far out as you can. And so I would say I want to find the media that allows me to touch the souls of so many young people in a way that lets them know how incredible they truly are.
Well, let me ask you this, and this is kind of a grisly question. What if somebody has a desire to hurt someone, like kill someone or, blow things up? I mean, will the universe accommodate that person?
That's a really good question, Jim. And if I was with the person, I've had a couple that are really wanting to not live anymore. I get a lot of people that don't want to live anymore. I go, okay, so if you weren't living, what would you be doing? All right, so what would that give you? I mean, again, let's go back to those questions. All right, what would you get out of killing somebody? What would that give you?
It all depends on who you're killing.
All right. So what is it that's going on inside of you that's causing you to want to kill someone?
It's probably, if you're a serial killer, I'm sure you're kind of twisted or demented. But then if you're going to kill someone who's going to kill, who has planned on killing 20 people, then you might be a hero.
Well, the thing is, you're always in every society. If you look at planet Earth is like it's like Adventureland in the cosmos.
Mm-hmm.
It's the place where we get to go and have half day and half night. So we have people that want to reach for the height of their higher self and the goodness of who they are. And we have those who have been hurt people. People don't just randomly hurt others. They've been hurt. It comes from lifetimes and generations, sometimes in families, of cruelty, of abuse, emotional, physical, sexual abuse that causes them to reach out and be harmful.
Mm-hmm.
And there are ways we can help those people. And yet, if you're working with someone like that, the best thing you can do is to be kind and try to get them help if they want it. All right. It's really, because sometimes if a person announces it, they want to be helped. It's the ones that don't announce it that usually are the cruel ones to do it. But people that say, I want to do this, they're asking for help, Jim.
Yeah, I would
the
imagine.
person that's screaming, help me. All right, help me.
Wow.
And in that, if you know that person well, there might be something in their life that they cherish, like a dog, let's say. All right, let's say that person cherishes their dog. Well, how would you feel if you lived in a neighborhood where somebody wanted to destroy all the dogs in that neighborhood, including yours?
Well, I would do everything I can to keep that from happening.
Right. Well, imagine that by you wanting to hurt a person. That person has a father, a mother, a sister, has a loved ones, and they're going to hurt because that person's not here anymore. And how would that make you feel?
Well, it all depends. I mean, if I save all the dogs in the neighborhood, I would probably feel okay with it. I don't know if that's...
No, I'm talking about if you're talking to a person who wants to hurt someone.
Yeah.
And they have a dog they love dearly.
Yeah.
All right, and you say to them, all right, how would you feel if someone said you wanted to kill your dog along with all the dogs in the neighborhood? All right, because you're saying you want to kill all the people in your neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And that would hurt you, wouldn't it? Yes. Well, what's going to happen if you kill someone? Won't that hurt the people in their life?
Hopefully
Do you want to hurt all the people in their life too?
Yeah, I can see what you're saying, but hopefully it works. I mean, if...
But the thing is, normally if a person says that, they're reaching out for help. They need help. And there are all kinds of organizations that can help. And there's all kinds of calls, lifeline calls that can help these people. But when you've got a young person like that, you need to turn it in if they need help, because you don't want something to happen to someone. You don't want guns at the school. You want to cut that one in the bud, okay?
Yep.
So when you're saying to manifest, I have never worked with helping anyone manifest negativity, so I would have no experience there, quite frankly.
Yeah, I don't either, but it some people have that desire and it's sick and twisted. But anyway, let's stay with positive. And so you're saying that one has to put themselves in sort of like this pretend world and make their feelings feel like they actually have it.
Mm-hmm. I even have them do a lifeline walk. Would you like me to explain that?
Of course.
A lifeline walk that came out of neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, which was taught by Richard Bandler and John Granger. They created it. And what a lifeline walk is let's say you're 45 years old, you're standing, and you're 45 years old. I say, okay, all right, now let's say you're wanting something specific in your life. Give me something specific, for instance.
Okay, I am wanting a brand new car.
Okay, great. All right, so I want you to look out ahead of you and close your eyes and imagine that you have a lifeline, and it runs behind you and it runs in front of you. All right? And behind you is your past. In front of you is your future. So with your eyes closed, how long does it look like into your future it will be before you get that new car?
Oh, I'd say about 5 years.
5 years. Okay. then what I have a person do, and you can't do it because you're on the phone, but this is something people should do because it's wild, and you really should have somebody there because you're closing your eyes and you don't want to fall and hit something. But basically what I have them do is say, okay, so we're going to find out how you're going to get to that new car. So how we're going to do that is, first of all, standing where you are at 45, you're going to be walking backwards to your birth and going through all the memories, all right, of how you got to 45. And so as you walk backwards, you're going backwards in years of your life, and certain events of your life start to show up, all right? And they show up in a way that you may like. They may show up in a way that you say, oh my gosh, it doesn't matter how they show up, but they show up. You go back to that very point where you're born, all right?
Yeah.
And then from where you're born, you walk forward, and you revisit each of those events, but you bless them and let them go.
Mm-hmm.
Bless them. Release them. Let them go. You don't need to hold on to these events any longer, all right? You come back to that place where you're 45, and then as you look out 5 years ahead of you, you close your eyes and see what, if there's any obstacle or anything you have to do to get to that point where you get that car. As you walk forward, you're going to see some things that are showing you events in your life, or something that you need to shift, or a fear you need to get past, or an obstacle that blocks you from just taking that plunge and getting in that car. Something will show up. And then as you arrive at the car, you get that feeling of success. You've accomplished it. The car is yours. And it's very powerful because what it does, it goes into the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind controls your health, your body, your events in your life. And what you're doing is you're cleaning the slate of your life to get any obstacle out of the way. And I would use myself as an example. I was stuck at a point in my life, and I couldn't move. I couldn't go forward. And as I did this lifeline walk, what was blocking me was I was living with my present husband. I'd been living for 4 years. He wanted to get married, and I was hesitating.
Okay.
And what showed up was my hesitation, my holding up that marriage was blocking my manifesting that thing that I wanted. And once I got past that, it arrived like boom. It was amazing. And so it's lifeline walk is a very powerful technique. I really recommend for people you do it in the out of doors, because some people just, they spend a lot of time. And some people have a straight line in front of them, and some have a straight line behind them. Some are on an angle. So you just got to supervise them as they're going backwards and forward, because their eyes are closed.
Well, let me give you another very painful kind of example here, and I'm hoping you're okay to answer this. But one time I had prostate cancer, and what I wanted to do was to manifest me being cured and be cancer-free. So for those of you, us, who are suffering from cancer, how difficult it is to manifest cancer-free existence when really the doctor says no. I mean, how can we manifest that? I know it's happened. I know it has happened before. People have manifested and were able to achieve that. But how do they do it? And what can people in the situation like that do?
You know, cancer, particularly more than any other disease, is a healing disease. Living or dying is not the object of cancer. It's the process of trusting yourself as you go through it. And I always will listen to the person who has the cancer over all doctors, because the person who has the disease has the angels around them. Number one, what's really important for everyone to know is that there are healing angels around you. There are many angels around you, but they don't have the right to interfere with your free will without permission. No, and I'm going to repeat that. They do not have the right to interfere with your free will without your permission. You ask their help. You can ask for healing angels to come in, or you can ask for calming angels to come in. You can ask for praying angels to come in. They're all there, but it's important. So cancer is a very interesting disease. And there's a wonderful book called Cyber-Cybernetics that came out in the 1970s, late 70s, and Maxwell Maltz wrote it, and it's about creative visualization. And the reason I bring up creative visualization, we're back to the subconscious mind again. So in order to prostate cancer, number one, you have to forgive yourself for being a man and for any act that's occurred in your life that affected your manhood. It's very attached to our masculinity, just as ovarian cancer is very attached to our feminine nurturing as a woman. So it's, first of all, forgive every event in your life that has touched that aspect of you. That's critical, all right? Very critical. Creative visualization is the ability to go in and to really see and believe. But I always say, if this, whatever my divine plan is, whatever this person's divine plan is, because I don't think we have the right to interfere with the divine plan. So that person who has the cancer is the critical one that has to do this. All right? They're the ones that have to really do the work.
Well,
no one can do it for them. They can ask for all their angels to come in. But in creative visualization, you know, it used to be, when they first came out with this, we could send German shepherds in to chew up tumors. But now people don't want to hurt parts of their body. So we have to be softer in the way in which we work with tumors and cancer. So now when I do like hypnosis with a client that has cancer, I take them on a journey where I make the chemotherapy an elixir of healing, or an umbilical cord to being remade. And then I have the cancer cells become compost in the earth to turn the earth and to take out all the toxins from the earth and to heal the earth by using their force, their life force.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we don't know. I can tell you, I healed my right eye, and it should not be healed. It was damaged years ago, and I was told by a cornea specialist there was no way I can heal scar tissue on an eye. It can't happen. And I went home and said, I'm not willing to give up my vision in my eye. So I immediately set to work using creative visualization, had little men in white suits going up and flushing everything out of my eye, and I healed it. And I think I healed it because it was so shocking and so fast, I just didn't accept what he said, period.
Wow. That's a fascinating story.
Yeah, we don't really know. I tried to heal my knee and I had to have surgery, so it doesn't always work, right? It doesn't always work. And if it doesn't work, it's because you've got a lesson in having it. Then you got to look at, okay, what's the gift in my having this? All right, I'm accepting myself as a man who's not afraid to admit that I have this thing that's affected my manhood, but it doesn't affect me as a man. Good for me, right? It's like, if a woman that had that big, beautiful goddess tattoo made across her chest because she lost her breast. Good for her.
Good for her.
Congratulations.
So,
right?
hey, Jen, we got about a minute left. So let me ask you this one last question. Did you manifest that the chickens in the background will stop clucking?
Well, it's very smart of me, wasn't it?
It was extremely smart of you. Okay.
What happens when, I can give you an answer to that.
Okay, let's hear it.
Where 2 or 3 are gathered that are working at higher levels to help the world, the energy moves out in a way that is very calming, right? And very soothing. And it also turned off the air conditioner and called in the wind. And it's interesting. That's why we need people in our life. Where 2 or 3 are gathered, spirit moves. And so when you're working on manifesting, when you're working with a group, it's faster.
Yeah, that is very true. You get that energy, yeah.
It's faster. In fact, Dr. Bernie Siegel proves that he took his cancer patients and he had, I'll say this really quickly, he had one half of them prayed for, and people praying didn't know who in the heck they were praying for. He would just hand them a name and say, you don't know what they have, you just pray for them to be well. So So he had one half his cancer patients prayed for, the other half not. He picked them at random, and guess what? The ones being prayed for got well faster than the ones that weren't.
Isn't that amazing? And it doesn't matter what religion you are.
Oh, no, it has nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with that. Energy is energy is energy. And the beautiful part is all paths lead the same place. It doesn't matter what you believe in. You don't even have to believe in anything. As long as you are a humanity-driven person who cares about others, all of who you are is perfect where it is. And it doesn't have to be Hindu. It doesn't have to be Buddhist. It doesn't have to be Christian. It can be universal. It can be atheist. It can be agnostic. Because all the paths lead to the same source. We're all a part of one soul, one gigantic soul.
And that brings a lot of comfort to me. So, well, Jan, I want to thank you again for another. Do you think you can have another talk about manifesting?
Absolutely.
It just seems like...
it is such a big subject.
Yeah.
I have so much experience with it because I taught it for so many years. And I experienced it even without my knowing it at one time. From a simple thing that I did a simple thing that I ended up manifesting without even realizing I was setting it up as a manifestation.
Interesting. Very true.
We can talk about that next time.
We will.
And actually, I have more techniques to use.
Oh, wonderful. I can't wait for this one. So, okay, well, thank you, Jan. Again, I'm learning every week from you, and this is definitely an enlightening experience. So, well, this is Jim Haig with Jan Venturini from Truth Seeking Souls. We will see you next time. Thank you, Jan.
Thank you, Jim.